What has become an annual tradition here at E2C Network, we are about to do a full pick'em of the March Madness bracket for 2024. You heard me correct. Every single game, every single pick. With your help, we're going to complete what hopefully will be a competent, maybe sometimes confusing bracket that maybe will help you with yours. Probably not. We're at least going to have some fun with it. Let's get into it right now. War Eagle Auburn family and a special War Eagle, and welcome to our E2C Network family. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on the replay, however you got here from Facebook, home base of YouTube, all the different places that you can get this content. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, and being part of this little special family within the Auburn family. Boy, oh boy, folks, do I hope that y'all are saddled up tonight. This is going to be a long one. I will set the table, as I like to say, for everybody to anticipate what you're getting yourself into. If you're live right now, if you're on the replay, we are about to do for this live stream a full pick'em show of every single bracket option together, a collective vote that will be sometimes brilliant, sometimes confounding, and sometimes interesting. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting, and it's going to be long. So we appreciate you being here for all of it, for any of it. We're going to do our best to get through all of this as quickly as we can. We'll start the process in about 5 minutes getting started. So get warmed up, start thinking about things, get your paper and pencils out if you're going to be making a bracket alongside of us when you hear some things being discussed. Again, I can't vouch for the validity of the information here. This is really just a formal exercise in creating a bracket that we will post in our official bracket contest. If you are not a part of it yet, you need to join up on ESPN's Tournament Challenge app. You can find this on social media. We'll put it in the description link of this video by the end of it, so you guys can go and find that. But you can also find it on social media. It's the group called E2C Network 2024. And our prize sponsor for this year, Barner Supply, is going to be providing that $50 gift card for their store online. We appreciate them very much for coming alongside us and partnering this year. Very, very cool company, very cool individual, the owner that I've got an opportunity to meet. I don't know if he is out in the open in terms of sharing who he is, so I'm not going to do that yet. But I do want to give him some props and acknowledge them coming alongside as our prize sponsor for this bracket contest. So, are you excited? Who is pumped about March Madness? If you are excited, smash the like button. Is a huge help in getting the stream started. Let us know that you're here by posting where you're watching from. Want to know who's here, who's contributing to this process. I hope y'all are ready. That's all I can say. Some of you who have been here for a long time know that this took a long time last year. We're going to try our best to be more efficient this year, and I'll explain the rules here in just a little bit about how we're going to function throughout all of this. But if you've got any other comments, questions before we dive into the bracket itself about March Madness, about Auburn's chances, all that kind of stuff, now's your time to get them in, because once we get started, we have got to focus. I will take comments and questions throughout most of it, but we've got to focus once we get in there. Bryant, good to see you. Devin's here as well. Micah, our resident Bama fan, is here. Good to see you. Stephen Pearl. You were talking about Stephen Pearl, Corey. I was about to give Stephen Pearl a shout out, but he's not here. It'd be cool if he was, though. Corey says, I feel as though we got the short end of the stick with our placement. I'm telling you, it's a conspiracy. It's not so much a conspiracy as just a pattern that continues to not cease. And so thus it fuels conspiracy theories and things like that. The fact that Auburn was seeded as the second to last 4 seed. I said that earlier when we were doing an initial reaction of it, that it was the last second seed. That's Alabama, Micah. They got the last 4 seed. We got the one right before them. So again, proves that we're a little bit better this year, you know. But the fact that Auburn's a 4 seed, I think, is a travesty based on how they performed throughout the season, but also in the tournament, winning the SEC championship. If that doesn't mean anything, then why are we even doing it at this point? Micah says, in my bracket, I have both Bama and Auburn in the Sweet 16, Kentucky winning, just cutting right to the chase, letting everybody know. And if you guys would like to share who you have in your bracket right now, you can. We'll need to get started here just shortly, but feel free to do that. Jackson Webb, good to see you, sir. Thanks for hanging out with us. I will tell you, those of you that are in the Conquer Club at the Tiger tier level, I have put the link out for you guys in that chat on Discord. If you want to call in, that's exclusive to those guys at that level. We do this from time to time. If you want to call in, I'll put the headphones on and we can have you as part of the show. Happy 10th anniversary of Bruce's hiring. Great thing. And it's perfect that we're doing this today. And Jackson's got Auburn going all the way. Good luck with that. I think this is a year where you could have Auburn going all the way and it wouldn't look terrible. It maybe is not the best year to do that, but it's not the most far-fetched thing in the world. Auburn's a good basketball team. A lot of people in their metrics have Auburn very high. A lot of people who do content creators who do way too much in-depth analysis of this have Auburn very highly favored in a lot of their stuff. But I don't know that I can necessarily bring them to be the winners this year. We'll see what the group picks here in just a second. Apparently, KenPom and net mean nothing. It's all apparently tournament championships win nothing. Who knows? Who knows what it means at this point? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to pull myself out full screen for a second because we're going to do a little switching-a-roo on the back end right here to explain to you how all of this is going to work. So we are about to do a full pick'em show. It will take a while. If you need to take a break, hop back in, let us know. But please, if you can, stay with us for the majority of it. That is much appreciated. Be interactive. We're going to want some perspectives, talk about a few things, but we're also going to make a bracket together. We are actually going to pull that off somehow, some way, and do a bracket pick 'em together. We will take votes in the chat. And I'm going to count on some of our longtime people here to help kind of moderate in a sense. If anybody's acting up or anything like that, or they're not understanding how this is working, I'm only going to accept votes. So what? Here, let me back up a second. Here's how exactly it happened. We're going to come to a game. I'm going to give you the two opponents. Very easy at the start. And then once we get further in the bracket, obviously I'll have to, based on what we're picking, I'll make some comments or stuff like that. I will call for a vote. When I specifically call for the vote, I need everybody in the chat who's going to be part of the voting process to only post one thing. You can comment in a separate comment or something like that. But when you're giving your vote, just the name of the team. So for instance, in Auburn versus Yale, I will say right now, I want you to vote Auburn versus Yale. Give me Auburn or Yale. We know what it's going to be. And that is how we're going to tally the votes. If it's in a long comment, I'm not going to, qualify that because I'm not going to have to read. I'm going to be tallying all that stuff up. So bear with me throughout the stream. It could get a little crazy, could get a little wild, but we're going to do our best to, figure this thing out. Let's do a quick practice round of this right now. What I'd love for you all to do is outside. This is not for the bracket pick'em, but this is just an exercise really quickly. I'm going to give you a yes, or I'm going to give you two options. How about that? Yes or no, will UConn win the national championship? Because that's what everybody's saying. Yes or no, will UConn give the national championship? In the comments right now, just type yes or no. Let's get the muscle memory, get it going on that so everybody can get used to doing those things. And I'll look at some of your comments while you're thinking about that. Devin says, my sons have filled out their brackets. Excellent. Are they in the bracket challenge? You'd have to make them their own email accounts and stuff like that, but you should put them in there. And there will, I guess, some rules for the bracket challenge as you guys are filling that out. 1 entry per person. And if I find out you're doing some shenanigans, creating multiple things, we'll have to reconsider some things. I'm planning on putting out some information about how we'll select everything later on this week, but we wanted to go ahead and open it up right now. All right, so we got no. All right, looks like the majority of everybody here has got this thing figured out. Excellent. Okay. So with that being said, folks, this is going to be our collective bracket that we are all going to do together. I'm going to bring it onto stage right now, and I'm going to move myself down here into the corner. And again, bear with me throughout the night because I'm going to be switching back and forth to a bunch of different things, trying to take some of your comments because I don't want us just to be boring the entire night. I want to do some interaction. If we get any of our Tiger tier people calling in, we'll also want to let them in to have some commentary. So, but here it is. This is the bracket for you all. This is what we're going to work through. And if you can, I don't know if you guys can tell or where the name of it is, but I have titled this as the E2C Network Fan Pick. It will be in our actual bracket challenge contest in our group on ESPN, but obviously it won't win anything. This is just for funsies, just to see how we are working here. I see a no coming in real late from War Eagle Fan 1. Be aware that you may be a little bit behind in the viewing process at some point. So you may have to refresh your screen, come back in so you can make sure that you get your votes counted in that, because that no came in real late, and I'm assuming it's in relation to me asking that practice question. So just be aware of all that. Is this bracket going to be one of the entries? There you go. Will we be able to see it? We had planned to do that last year, but I didn't hit save. And so I think this year I've got it figured out where it won't mess up. I want us to be able to see it and compare this year. I know that you guys were really, really looking forward to that. So as you can see right here on my screen, we're going to be going up and down. Obviously, if you don't like any of the advertisements and things that pop up on the screen, I'm sorry, I can't do anything with that. But this is what we're going to have to do to manage the process. So 2024 March Madness. Is everybody ready? Good. I think we're ready to go at this point. So let's look at the first region, the East region. Game number 1, we've got UConn versus Stetson, 16 versus 1. And we may move through some of these pretty quickly here. 16s have never, well, Kyle, what are you talking about? 16s have only beaten ones twice, and they have all happened within the modern times, the recent times, most recently last year, Fairleigh-Dixon. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's start with this one. Here is your first vote opportunity of the evening. Number 1, UConn. Number 16, Stetson. Goodness. Thankfully, we won't have to talk about it after this one. Give me your vote now. UConn, Stetson. What is your vote? I know that some of these will be formalities, but I want to give people the opportunity to vote. Looks like they're already coming in as I kind of thought about it. We've got 1 vote for Stetson. This bracket brought to you by Allstate. That's funny, Micah. I wish so much. All right, we got UConn. And there's going to be times where I don't even take the count. We're just going to go with what it is. Look, folks, the reality is this isn't going to happen again for a long time. I would love it, especially for us personally as Auburn fans, those of us that are Auburn fans that are here, if UConn was knocked out in the first round, but it's not going to happen. We all recognize that. We all know it. So let's just move on. UConn moving on to the round of 32. All right, this one's going to be a little bit more interesting. And I'll be honest with you, I cannot wait to see this one because I cannot make up my mind about this. So what you guys can do right now, let me know. FAU or Northwestern? Western, can I talk this evening? If this is how this is going to go the entire stream, we're going to be in for a rough time. We may have to stop and pull back from the bracket for a second and give me a break. But right now, give me your vote. FAU or Northwestern? Western. Kyle. Goodness. 8 versus 9. These are historically very good games. They're supposed to be the best matchups because it's the 8 and the 9 seed. FAU still has our boy KT Harrell as their director of basketball operations. So there's a reason for Auburn fans to be excited about that one. Northwestern comes from the very tough Big Ten. So this one, I can't make up my mind. FAU was the darling last year. Will they be able to do it again? They've had some struggles this year. What do you think? What do you think? All right, we're going to start right here. And I guess, I remember this last year. I need to put a break in the chat so I know how to keep up with the votes sometimes. Northwestern. So we got 2, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 4-2, 4-3, 5-3, 5-4, 5-5. I have Northwestern, and that is still tied. All right. Gracie, remember, only give it to me in one single. Oh, you did. Okay, I see your vote up there. I thought you were giving it to me in a statement. So it looks like we have a tie for our first time here on the board. Here's how this is going to work. You may not like it, but in the event of ties, if we don't get any more votes, and please don't double vote, I'm going to just call it. There we go. We got an FAU by Latrell on Facebook, so we'll take that. I will call the vote as done, and when I hit the break, I'm going to hit a break like that in the chat. It should appear everywhere. That's going to be where the voting stops. I may miscount. I may not get exactly right, but for the sake of time, we're just going to have to roll with it and go through it. All right. So for all of that, FAU. 1 versus 8 coming up later. Let's keep moving on. San Diego State versus UAB. Give me your vote right now. Who you got? Number 5 seed, number 12 seed. Obviously going to be playing in our regional. Implications for Auburn. Look, I'd love to see UAB knock off a team like San Diego State. Of course, that would really make things interesting in the next round for us, wouldn't it? With the connection there. And can we just acknowledge the fact that Auburn, UAB, and Alabama are all playing in Spokane? Something just seems a little bit amiss. Keep in mind, 5s and 12s. It's the most common, I believe, upset, the 12 beating the 5. So you could see that here. Is this the one to do it, though? You pick. All right, here come the votes. Let's look. UAB. Let's see here. Oh, hold on. I lost my place in the vote count here. All right, 2-1. 2-2. Oh, no. That's 3-1. Sorry. 3-2. 3-3. 4-3. San Diego State. 5-3. 6-3. 6-4. 7-4. 8-4. 9-4. 10-4. 10-5. All right. Any last minute votes? It looks like it's going to go that way to San Diego State. I'm not shocked that some of you are picking UAB. It's not the worst pick in the world that you could ever make, but the vote, it looks like it's going to go to San Diego State, and we will put the break there. That is going to do it. Your winner for this round, folks. Sorry, not UAB, San Diego State. I almost circumvented it there. Is there any reason to discuss this one? I need your votes. Auburn versus Yale, 4 versus 13. Micah is going to pick Yale. I'm already going to call it because he's our resident Bama fan, but go ahead and put your votes in right now to make it official. 4 versus 13. I will tell you that there's a lot of talk about Yale's guards and whether or not you believe that that is going to be a big factor in the game for Auburn. Florida's guards gave us fits the first game and kind of made it pretty difficult for us in that tournament game, at least at times. And there's that conversation around if they hadn't lost their center combined with that guard play, would they have been able to overtake us? Maybe. Who knows? But we'll never know at this point. Micah says, I picked Auburn. Thank you very much. That's why we like you, Micah. You're pretty reasonable, mostly. The only issue is that you like Bama for some odd reason. Auburn. Okay, no point in bringing them all up. But as you can see, anybody picking Yale? Nope. Jeff Goodman said our guards aren't athletic. What a clown. Look, I've told you guys this before. And Devin, you know this too. You've been here long enough. We've talked about Jeff Goodman a lot. He loves just to stir things up, just to get a reaction. I agree that Yale's guards should not be underestimated. And that's kind of the stereotype of the Ivy League, that they That's what they are known for, shooting, guard play. But I don't think that they have the athleticism to compete with an Auburn. So Auburn it is. All right, keep moving here. Your next vote, put it in now. Right, BYU or Duquesne? That's Duquesne. BYU or Duquesne? Who do you have? 6 versus 11. There tends to be an upset here from time to time. I believe not as common as the 5-12 upset for some reason. But I feel like we typically get an 11 seed upsetting a 6 seed. So what do you think? Give me your vote. Let's see here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I know about these teams to talk about, but other than one being from the very powerful Mountain West, Duquesne, I think, surprised a lot of people. I don't think that there's going to be much to talk about here. All right, we got BYU all the way down, it looks like. Is anybody picking? Anybody going to pick them? Nobody for Duquesne. Not a single person when it gives Duquesne credit. All right. BYU it is. I will say, if you are having Mountain West teams go further this season, I think if you were going to pick that this season, this is the year to do it. Your next pick, Illinois versus Morehead State. Right now in the chat, post your vote. MSU, Morehead State, if you just want to type that out, whatever you want to do. Or Illinois. Give me your vote on these guys. The 3-14 upset, obviously the further back we go, not as common, but it's happened quite a few times. I've had a few brackets wrecked because a 14 seed beat a 3 seed. Illinois just won the Big Ten, I believe. So you've got that to consider. Big Ten's a great basketball conference. Obviously, this is Janai Broom's where he came from. So it would be great to see a rematch between Auburn and Janai Broom now and his old team of Morehead State. Is it going to happen? Probably not. Probably not. But let's see in the chat if anybody. We got Bryant. So Bryant, I'm curious. While the votes still can continue to come in, are you serious? Or are you just picking that one for funsies? Because everybody else so far has got Illinois. We should have been number 3. I agree. I completely agree. We're going to break the vote there because he says, seriously, okay. I have heard some people, Bryant, and we'll take another vote here in just a second, so hold your horses. I know a lot of you like to jump the gun. A lot of people have at least talked about Morehead State just, at least being relevant to the conversation. They produced or got a talent like Janai Broom, so obviously they can find talent, even if it's talent that eventually leaves them at some point. So I'm not making fun of your pick at all. I'm just curious if that was a legit pick or not. All right, your next vote is up, folks. We are picking Illinois for that one. Right now, Washington State or Drake, WSU or Drake. Type it in right now for your vote. What do we got? I have worked real hard to find an upset that I feel really good about. And I don't necessarily consider Drake an upset over Washington State. That may be a hot take. From what I have learned about them, I do think a lot of people are very, very high on them as well as one of the lower tiered teams. I'm not trying to sway you guys to pick Drake over Washington State. It's still, a power, well, not a power 5 because we don't talk about that necessarily in basketball, but a, upper echelon conference. The Pac-12 is, well, it's the last year for it, but it's typically producing at least some talent out of there. Washington State made it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Drake versus Washington State. Let's see what we got here. Looks like we might have a little bit of a need for a count. But let me just take a look through here. I see about 4, 5. Okay, let me take a count. Keep them coming if you haven't voted yet. All right, I've got 1. I'm going to do it this way this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have more Drake votes at this point. So we're going to put a break in. That's going to be it. That's our winner, Drake. At what date are UT and OU considered SEC teams? I guess as soon as the completion of this year. I guess that's when it would happen. I don't know. Drip edits, are you counting for me? I appreciate that. I'm going to do my own count, but if you like to keep that up for me, that will be helpful to kind of reference. But I'll probably have to make some calls sometimes in terms of, because here's the thing. I don't know if you guys see the Facebook comments? Another vote. We'll take the other vote in a second. Can y'all see the Facebook comments and like the Twitter comments coming in on each other's respective apps? Because I think y'all can only see. So that's going to be the trick. But yes, do continue to give me that count as a point of reference for YouTube, at least. That would be very helpful, just as like gauging things. All right. So our pick, everybody pick Drake. Devin, if I remember what I know about you correctly, just as a quick aside, I'm not shocked that you picked Washington State. Or excuse me, you picked Drake over Washington State. I figured that was coming from you. All right. Our last pick in this region, Iowa State, South Dakota State. Give me your votes right now. Number 2, number 15. These upsets happen more often than the 16-1. We've seen some mighty number 2s go down at the hands of a 15 seed. I just get the feeling that if you're a 15 seed, you do not want to be playing a Big 12 team this year or an SEC team. You're going to hope for something else if you are if you're facing a number 2 seed. So Iowa State, South Dakota State. Do the Jackrabbits have any hope out there? What do we got? All right, vote here. Looking for Iowa State. Iowa State. We got Neil's got 1 South Dakota. It looks like an LSU BVK the way it's written out, but I know you mean ISU. Okay. I think that is going to be the vote right there. I think the majority of them have come in. Drip edits, 14-1 on there. Very nice. That's a good reference point. At least we got one pity vote for South Dakota State. Iowa State is our pick right there. All right, let me ask you guys this real quick for the room. Would you rather finish out a region or just go through the complete round of 64? Or, 60, whatever it is. Would you rather go through the complete round by round, or would you rather just finish the region out to the Final Four, and then we'll talk about the Final Four? Anybody have any opinions about that? We've done both ways. I don't think that there is a right or a wrong or a preference. Region, round of 64, 64, then 32. Anybody else? 64. It's pretty. 64. Okay. Anybody else? I think we're going to go through the whole thing. All right. For those of you that wanted to finish out the region, I'm sorry. We're going to go round by round. That's what everybody or most people wanted on there. All right. Here, then, scrolling down to the west, we go. Westward ho. 1 versus 16. It'll be Howard or Wagner versus North Carolina. For formality's sake, give me your vote. Does anybody think that this will be the big upset of the year? I don't know anything about Wagner. Howard is a team that's made the tournament recently. If I remember correctly, they didn't give us much of a showing, at least in the fullness of the game. Maybe in the first half, most teams can at least kind of look competitive. But North Carolina is probably the weakest of the 1 seeds out there. So if you're going to pick one, this might be the year. This might be your susceptible 1 seed. I have been surprised, to be honest with you, how I won't say it's not a down year for the ACC, I feel like, but it is definitely one of those years that they're not as potent across the board as I thought they would have been. All right, North Carolina, I do not see any votes across any of our things for votes for the other team. So we will go UNC. UNC will win it, but lose in the round of 32. Hot take right there. Hot take. We'll see what comes up. North Carolina on the board. Here we go. This is what I'm interested in. Give me and you can't type MSU. Please remember that. You can type MSST, MSU, but don't even do that. No MSU. I need Michigan or Mississippi or something that clearly defines what you mean. Because they are both M's and they are both states. That just now hit me. But go ahead and vote right now. I need a clear delineation between what your vote is. I'll have to throw it out if we don't know what it is. I guess we could have said Izzo or Jans, because that's the head coaches. What do I always tell you folks? Never, ever, ever count out Tom Izzo in March Madness. You do what you want. This is our collective vote. I only decide in the event of a tie, which thankfully we haven't had any of those yet. But we'll see. All right. MSU will win. There it was at the beginning. Thank you for that. Mississippi State, Michigan State, Mississippi State, Mississippi State, Mississippi State, Michigan State, Michigan State, Mississippi, Michigan's getting pretty tight. I think it's still in Mississippi State's corner. It is across the board. We got another Michigan coming in. Angela, good to see you. Thanks for hanging out with us. On the YouTube side of things, 10-6, I think MSU. We're going to call the vote right there. And I'll tell you this much. I think that this is going to be the game of that day. I think Mississippi State is going to be, Vinny, by the way, you're a little bit behind the chat and you won't hear this for a little bit. You may want to refresh because you're giving us the Howard vote a little bit late. I think that this is going to be the game of the day. Mississippi State is obviously very powerful. I'm telling you folks, there's something about Tom Izzo and Michigan State. I don't care if they're having a down year, but they will make some noise in March Madness. I have held to that rule in most years. He proves me right in some way or form. I'm not saying they're going to the Final Four, but I am saying that don't count them out of the first round. You might even see them make it into the Sweet 16. Who knows? That's maybe what he was referring to right now. All right, so we got Mississippi State going first on y'all's vote. So that's how we're going to continue forward. Now, here's your next vote. 5 versus 12. St. Mary's, Grand Canyon, what I think will also be a good game. Give me your vote right now. St. Mary's, Grand Canyon. A lot of people like Grand Canyon. St. Mary's is a name we're very familiar with. It's like Gonzaga and St. Mary's, and that's it from that group, from their conference. I know there are other teams there and decent teams, but you either hear about Gonzaga or you hear about St. Mary's. They're like the only team from their conference that had like a shot of beating them most years. Not this year, but most years. This is one that I'm actually still having a hard time picking myself. I think right now I have Grand Canyon, but I can never seem to get the St. Mary's game right every single year. Let's see. The votes are coming in. A lot of St. Mary's, more Grand Canyons. Grand Canyon is clearly in the lead here. St. Mary's has made a run back. St. Mary's, Grand Canyon. Drip edit, St. Mary's. I agree on YouTube and on my side of things. It looks like a 10-5. There you go. It looks like most of the other people in other venues are going to be agreeing with you there. So we will call it St. Mary's. You guys haven't had a lot of controversial picks yet. Y'all are behaving this year. What's going on? St. Mary's moves ahead in our bracket. I need to remember to move it up. And by the way, if like I ever have it off screen, let me know so I can adjust it for you guys. All right, here we go. Remember, we got a Bama fan in the chat. Number 4, Alabama versus number 13, Charleston. Who you got? Let me know. Can we not be petty? It's y'all's fan vote, so you can do whatever you want with this bracket. But who you got? Alabama if their offense is rolling, is going to be hard to beat for a lot of these teams. I think they probably got a more favorable draw in the tournament than Auburn, but a lot of other teams as well. Charleston is a program that's been pretty good decently. They are the program of Zep Jasper. That's where he came from. SID Marlene Navor for Auburn. That's where she's from. So, well, I think she's from several places, but most recently from College of Charleston. So, who you got? Let's see. Austin's here, guys. I just saw that he was here. Don't give a Charleston, Alabama, Charleston. Man, goodness gracious. A lot of you were picking Charleston just because I hate Bama. I figured we were going to get a lot of picks on those. Is it really 9-7 Charleston drip edits? Is that it? Bama is 1-3 in their last 4 games. Micah says Bama. Did you vote twice, Micah? Let's see. He didn't. Well, he didn't give an official vote. So I guess that counts towards it. All right, we'll give another second here. I'm going to count through myself. 1, 2, 3, 4. Give me a second. I have it Charleston winning by 1 across all the platforms. That Latrell got in before I called the break. I'm not trying to hold on, but he did get it in. Charleston has great guards. So here's what I'm going to do for the sake of everything. I'm calling the vote. We are at a deadlock across all the platforms. I understand this. I understand everybody's feelings here, but I'm actually going to be favorable here. I think Charleston does have good guards. I think they have a good team, but I am going to push Alabama in the tie to the next round of this. Tie goes to me. I decide. Alabama goes forward. I think y'all will take care of it in the next round. So don't be mad at me. Alabama wins. It is. Okay. Let's keep pushing forward here. Our next one, Clemson versus New Mexico. Give me your vote right now. 6 versus 11. Who you got? Again, 6 versus 11 is one of the more common upsets, if you want to call it an upset. Sometimes there's really strong teams from lower conferences or smaller conferences, not Power 5, if you want to think about it that way. ACC, somewhat of a down year. Mountain West, an up year. A lot of teams from them there this year. I like New Mexico, but don't let that influence your vote. Clemson versus New Mexico. Who you got? All the votes are starting to come in here. Let's look and see. Micah, we don't say we never did nothing nice for you on the Bama vote, right? And think too, I had to call it for you as well. We did something nice for you after all. New Mexico, Clemson, New Mexico. Wow, a lot of New Mexicos here. New Mexico State. Who voted New Mexico State? That's hurtful to see. Clemson only because of New Mexico beat us in football. New Mexico State did. 9-4. Another Clemson just came in, so I believe that is 9-5 on YouTube side of things. I haven't gotten any other votes from the other formats. It was an accident. 9-5. All right. We're calling it. There's probably our biggest upset of the tournament thus far, or maybe it wasn't. We'll go back through and look in a second, but I don't necessarily think this is an upset. To me, New Mexico is strong enough of a team that beating a team like Clemson in a down-ish year for the ACC, this isn't that major an upset, but just by seeding, it looks that way. Next up, give me your vote. Baylor versus Colgate, Ivy League. Ivy League, right? Yeah. Versus Baylor, Big 12 team. They beat Auburn in the first game of the season. Auburn had that one in hand, couldn't make their free throws. That one still kind of pains me. Y'all know how much it bothers me when free throws are the bane of our existence. And we got a lot better at free throws, but they cost us the Baylor game. And they will cost us the March Madness games if we don't do right here. Looks like we're going to have a pretty mostly clean sweep of this Baylor. Cold toothpaste doesn't stand a chance. 12-0, 13-0. And they keep coming in on all sides. All right. I'm going to put the break in. There it is. Baylor, it is. These are the good ones where we can just keep moving forward. All right. Number 7 versus Nevada. 10. Number for Nevada. Dayton versus Nevada. Who you got? Dayton or Nevada? Dayton's one of those smaller schools that is always in the conversation in March Madness. And there's been a couple of times they've made some big runs. A few other times they haven't. They kind of fell out early. Nevada, again, from the very strong Mountain West. I really don't know personally how to feel about this one. I think I put Dayton ahead so far. And I'll be honest with you guys. I actually reevaluate some of my picks based on what I see you guys are saying. So you're helping me in a sense too. Is that cheating? Maybe so. Let's see here. Colgate will brush Baylor's teeth. That's funny. Nevada, Dayton. A lot of Dayton's coming in, but then a lot of Nevada's in on the back end. But it looks like Dayton is going to take it. The Flyers, unbeaten Lake, giving us the random vote. If I didn't know what their mascot was. Yeah, I could tell you love you some Dayton, Neil. Looks like I don't even need to count it, but if there is an official count from Drip Edits, if he's still here, I'll use that as a reference point. But I don't think I don't know too fast. It's Dayton. I don't even know that you need to worry about it all that much. It was Dayton for a while there. It looked like Nevada was going to make a run at it, but I will go ahead and put the break in right now. Dayton, it is, folks. There you go. All right. We're halfway done after this with the first side of the bracket in the round of 64. Arizona, Long Beach State. Put your votes in right now. Maybe a formality. I think Arizona is one of the bright spots, even though they didn't win their conference title, the tournament title. I think that they're going to be too powerful for Long Beach State. They've, I think, made a run into the second round recently. You don't want to dismiss these small California schools for some reason, but not when they are the 15 seed facing the number 2 Arizona. Does anybody want to make a case? We got one Long Beach State from Vinny, another one. Arizona always chokes. You know what, Neil? You're correct. I might just change it and have that be my major upset for just one round because it really won't hurt me in the long run and have Long Beach State lose the next round simply because they have messed up my bracket so many times. You have literally, I hate overuse of this word, but you have triggered me remembering all that stuff. Upset Long Beach State 14-4. Don't pick Arizona. They are the frauds, man. A lot of hate for Arizona, folks. Jeez. I did not anticipate that. I did not anticipate it. Arizona's going forward by the vote, but it doesn't sound like anybody is happy about it. We'll have to remember that coming up next here. Okay. All right. All right. Let me just double check and make sure you guys can see the full screen. You can. We are on the right side now, halfway through the round of 64. Here we go. Here's your vote. Houston, Longwood. Vote now. Maybe a formality. I believe Longwood's out of California. Houston is one of those teams that is in the conversation with UConn for best overall. We know that we've got some, axe to grind with them from as Auburn fans from last year. but I just don't see Houston being the 1 seed that falls this year. If anybody wants to make a case for that, speak now or forever hold your peace. Houston looks like it's going to be, we got another, a joke, Longwood. I'm pretty sure that is. Houston across the board. I'm going to save everybody some time, and I'm going to save everybody from having to type further, but it looks like most of you got your votes in. So I'm going to go ahead and call it. Houston wins that one. Next one. This one actually will need to take a more thorough vote of. So go ahead and vote now. Nebraska versus Texas A&M. 8 versus 9. Obviously, another one of those games that you should have a very good matchup, that you should be you should not be surprised if this one goes down to the wire based on seeding alone. Texas A&M gets into the tournament. I really respect Buzz Williams as a basketball coach. He's a little bit annoying as a coach, but in terms of what he's able to get out of his teams, I think you've at least got to give him that respect. Nebraska coming out of the the Big Ten, a very tough basketball school this year. That should probably give them some consideration, but Texas A&M's coming out of the very difficult SEC this year. So who do you got? This one may be a little bit closer than a lot of us thought it might be. What do we got here? Got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's a little bit spread out. 11 for A&M on the YouTube side. I'm not seeing anything else to really fight against that. I think it's Texas A&M. It is Texas A&M, folks. There we go. Texas A&M moving on through. Next round, 5 versus 12. What's your vote? Wisconsin versus James Madison. You may have already made up your mind on this, but I hear a lot of people talking about James Madison, so-called experts, really thinking that James Madison is a very good basketball team. Not that necessarily they need to be seeded higher, but that they are a danger to any 5 seed that they would have gotten matched up against. Wisconsin just won the Big 12, I believe. No, Illinois did. Wisconsin made it, I think, to the title game, if I remember correctly. I think Wisconsin is a dark horse for me to go a little bit further in the tournament. But I do get worried about that pick for me because I hear so much of the experts talking about James Madison surprising so many people this year. What do you think? Ooh, there's a lot more James Madisons that I see in there initially than I thought there would be, but let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, my goodness, folks. 8, 9, JMU. Not happen. It's going to be Wisconsin. All right. If you haven't voted yet, get it in. It's pretty close, I think. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 7. Ooh, I've got 7 to 10 JMU. Wow. And there's another Wisconsin and there's another JMU coming there. I'm not going to let it keep going this way. I mean, I don't mean like keep it from being voted out. Another Wisconsin vote came in just before the break. Actually, yeah, one more came in. Folks, we just called our 5-12 upset. I think that's the first one we picked. I don't think we picked the other one. But as a collective, there were some very strong opinions that Wisconsin was not going to have any problems with this in the vote. But there it is. James Madison is our 12 seed moving forward. We picked one this year. There we go. Now that's exciting. I think we just taking a quick look real quick. Did we pick a 5? No, we haven't. That's our first one. Very nice. All right, here we go. Next one, Duke versus Vermont. What do you got? Duke or Vermont? A lot of hate for Duke across the board from everybody. Nobody likes them except Duke fans, and I'm not even sure they like them sometimes. The Vermont Catamounts, they seem to be in the tournament a lot these days, but I can't really recall them making any noise. Duke has been very susceptible this year to getting beat in a year where the ACC, I feel like, at least personally, has been slightly down a little bit. What would have been interesting is this if Duke and James Madison had been matched up. That one would have been very intriguing. Is there enough to not send Duke through, though? Neil's got a Vermont. Lots of Dukes. There's a Vermont upset as well. Jackson says Duke fans are the Bama football fans. How do you feel about that one, Micah? I think that's it. There's your vote. Oops. Excuse me. Let me put the break in there. Duke going forward. Duke going forward. All right. Hey, Duke versus James Madison matchup. When I was talking about it earlier, I meant in the first round. We're going to get it. Let's see what people think about it when we get there. Your next one, 6 versus 11, Texas Tech, NC State. NC State I think they were one of the ones that stole a bid, but shocking so many people by taking down so many other ACC opponents that they probably shouldn't have. What is your vote? Texas Tech, NC State. Now, Texas Tech is a team that feels like they're either super good one year and then they'll be in the tournament, but on the back end of the Big 12. So they come in as a 6 seed this year to the NC State Wolfpack being the 11. And that's weird to me, seeing NC State be an 11 seed. That's so foreign to me. All right. What do you got? Going back up to the top here. NC State, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we've got NC State in the lead, 9 NC States. I'll give another less than a minute to see if anybody else from the other venues come in, but across YouTube, yeah, I think we're up to 10 at least, counting everything. 10. There's another one for NC State. I'll give another few seconds for any other votes that want to come through. I think that is going to be it. NC State it is. Another upset. I have NC State beating Texas Tech as well. So I'm not shocked that y'all all picked that one. Whether you were supposed to win the tournament conference or not, the fact is that they did, and you got to give them some respect for that. Here we go. Number 3, Kentucky versus Oakland. I've heard some people who I think were joking saying Oakland could beat Kentucky. I kind of laughed at them. What do you guys think? 3 versus 14. I will say this, and I know a lot of you are wanting to type it already, or are probably already doing so. Kentucky should not be a 3 seed. If Auburn's a 4 seed, Kentucky should not be a 3 seed. They should at least be a 4 seed too. And I would, if they had put Kentucky and Auburn and Alabama as well, I can deal with that as all 4 seeds together. Then I'm like, you know what? That's fine. I can deal with that. But the fact that Kentucky, after they got their butts handed to them and couldn't do what we all expected them to do in the tournament, I lost a lot of respect for them. So I think they should have been a 4 seed too. But is it enough? Kentucky across the board. I don't even see one single. I'm not even seeing a Blue Bud bias. Is it bias if it's just the reality of what it is? Kentucky easy. Thank you for Drip Edits. You are being a champ today. Where have you been all my life? I can't tell you. I didn't realize how much easier that's made that. You'll have to come back next year, Drip Edits, and just be our counter for us again. All right. There we go. Kentucky's moving forward. The last one in this region, We are the last group. Sorry, not the last pick. Florida, number 7 versus number 10, Boise State or Colorado. Now that's going to be the tricky one, right? We don't know if we're getting Boise State or Colorado. I heard someone talking about Boise State today, and they, if I understood them, said Boise State should not be in this tournament. Colorado, on the other hand, probably. Florida is without their starting center. They've got great guard play. We just saw that ourselves. They've got some other bigs as well, but they just lost their starting center. And unfortunately, I think in my mind, that's got to discredit them, even if it's the other two. There's a lot of emotional roller coaster ride. Oh, you guys disagree. Wow. See, I have whoever's coming out of that beating Florida. Florida. It looks, yeah. Everybody's got Florida, it looks like. 15-0. Oh, there you go. You're the lone wolf. Yep. Colorado, a couple of Colorado's coming in at the end. And yes, I agree. Neil says that they're a good team. When I said that I'm having them get beat, I think they're a very good team. There's a reason that they beat that side of the SEC bracket, which was, it was all good, but that side was probably the tougher side, just being honest. They're a very good basketball team. And I kind of like them a little bit more now that they got Todd Golden. So for you guys, Florida. All right, last one in this region, Marquette, Western Kentucky. Maybe a formality. What do you think? Western Kentucky or Marquette? Give me your vote now. 2 versus 15. Again, these happen from time to time. I can never make up my mind how I feel about Marquette. I always feel like I see them in the tournament, and when they're like a 1 or a 2 seed, I always pick them and they let me down. But for some reason, I just can't quit Marquette. I don't know enough about Western Kentucky to give you guys anything to think about with that. I just know it's Marquette. Perennial power. Always in the conversation, it seems like. What say you all? Well, I do see it on the first glance. I see a couple of Western Kentuckys, but Marquette. See, Jackson's got one. Western Kentucky there. Shaka always gets upset. Western Kentucky. It does feel like, I forgot Shaka Smart's their head coach. It does feel like from time to time that he'll let one get away from him. Shaka is prone to being upset in the tournament. 11-4, though. Marquette's going to get the win. So let me put our break in just for my simplicity's sake. And Marquette's going forward. All right, folks, we are almost done. Almost done with the first round. It'll go a lot quicker after this. Purdue versus Montana State or Grambling State. Can a state beat Purdue? Again, I know it may be a formality, but give me your vote. Zach Edey over at Purdue is a giant. Some people say he's born of the Nephilim. If you're a Christian, know about that from the Bible. You know, you'll get that. You might have had like a really bad, give me a pity laugh after that one. He's a good basketball player. I don't know where he's going to go in the draft. I don't know what the teams that are going to get the first few picks needs are, but I got to think Zach Edey is going to go pretty high. A lot of people had Purdue as the best team all year, or at least throughout a lot of the year. What do you think? Boilermakers. Ooh. Boilers. Angela, are we being serious or are we just having fun? Gracie, are we being serious or are we having fun? Purdue is a fraud and overrated. Purdue, that's funny. Okay. Yeah, 2 more came in, so it's 15-2 on this side. I'm not seeing enough to compensate for it. All right. All the 1 seeds are safe, folks. They're all safe. You do love the upsets. I see that. I can tell. You like to cause chaos. All right, here we go. Neither of these will be an upset because it's that close in the seeding. Utah State 8, TCU 9. What do you think? Big 12, Mountain West. Honestly, this is the makings of a really good game because of the seeding, but because you've got two conferences with teams that are probably at not the tops. Now, Utah State, I believe, won the. Did they win the big? No, don't answer that. Y'all ain't worry about voting, but I know that they made some noise in the Mountain West. Obviously, they're in the tournament. TCU has had higher points. This is one of their on the lower end, but they still made the tournament. Big 12 Mountain West. What do you got? Okay, this one is going to be a little close. No, it's not. No, it's not. TCU. Purdue 2. That's funny. If you meant that way. Frogs, Utah State. A lot of Utah State started coming in here. Okay. 7-6. We'll give another minute for some votes to come in. And then we'll move forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've got it at about. I've got it at about with everybody count all the different platforms. I've got TCU going pretty well enough here to not vote the other side. So there we go. TCU it is. TCU it is. All right. Next one. Gonzaga 5-12. Y'all have picked a 5-12 upset already. Will you do it again? The amount of talk that I've heard about McNeese State, I just don't get it. Is it because Will Wade's their coach? Give me your vote, Gonzaga or McNeese State. Will Wade he's a good basketball coach. He can recruit because he cheats. Gonzaga is down this year. My second rule I always follow in March Madness is never count on Gonzaga to do what you think that they will do. That means if they're supposed to fall out, like you think they're terrible, they'll win. If they're supposed to win it all, they'll fall flat on their face. They always do the opposite for me of what I think that they're going to do. They don't have their star power that they've had the last Drew Timme, Chet Holmgren. All those stars are long gone at this point. What do you got? Going back to the top here. The fighting Will Wade, the cheater. All right, I got Gonzaga. Seeing enough Gonzaga to not take an official count here. There's a few McNeese State coming in. 10-5. Nobody likes the Zogs. I agree. They're almost a Duke level for everybody. Okay. We'll call it there. Nobody is feeling, at least to the level, the other upset that we all picked together. Gonzaga is moving forward. Okay. Kansas versus Samford. A little local flavor here. Give me your pick. 4 versus 13, Kansas or Samford. Kansas is having a little bit of a down year. I am not high on them at all. My sister-in-law is an Auburn fan, but she was raised as a Kansas basketball fan, so she knows this team very well, and she's not super excited about them this year at all. I believe Dickinson, their star player, is either injured enough to potentially be out or may not be playing right away. I heard something about that. Samford apparently has great guard play, which will help you a lot in this tournament, it seems like, traditionally. We haven't picked a 13 to beat a 4 upset yet. Does anybody want to pick this one? Let's look. Dickinson's coming back. Okay, so we got confirmation on that. Well, let's take it all through here. We might get our first just unadulterated fan pick for this one. All right, Kansas. A lot of Sanfords, whatever you want to say. Kansas, Samford. We got 4 teams from Alabama in the tournament. 9-7 Samford. There's another Kansas that came in on Facebook. So we have a Samford lead. I will give it another minute or two, in just another minute. For any other votes that haven't come in, please don't vote twice to skew it one way or the other. Samford is in the lead right now. I've got a little internal clock going in my head. Samford is winning right now based on the vote count across all of those. And that'll do it. Folks, we just picked a 13 seed beating a 4 seed. Kansas getting taken out by Samford. Now, look, this is not the most crazy thing to happen in this tournament. Like I said, I'm very down on Kansas, and the biggest Kansas fan I know is down on them as well. I think she thinks they'll beat Samford. But hey, for funsies, let's pick it. Next one, South Carolina versus Oregon. I'm going to be honest with you. Give me your vote. I have no clue what to think of this one. I think maybe I've said this already, but this one may be the one that I just have no clue what to think. Oregon either won or did well in their tournament. South Carolina, they look good against everybody else except Auburn. Go figure. I mean, Auburn beat them by 30 and 40. What am I supposed to do with that? Like, all I'm told all year and all I see all year is them look legit against everybody else in the SEC, which is extremely tough this year. But then we wax them. Now, teams match up differently. What am I supposed to do with this one? I've heard some people say Oregon is a team to watch out for. Let's see here. South Carolina. I'm seeing a lot of South Carolina. A few more Oregons, but more South Carolina. Little SEC bias in the house. Oregon, Bo Nix gets his revenge. 13, yep. That's on the YouTube side. Yeah. It's South Carolina. This may be a little bit of SEC bias for our audience here. I would not be shocked, to be honest with you, to see Oregon win this one, but I'm completely fine. Here's what I want. I want to pick Oregon. I just don't have any reasons to pick them other than we beat South Carolina and embarrassed them twice. Your next vote, Creighton. Is it Creighton or Creighton? Creighton versus Akron. 3 versus 14. These upsets happen from time to time. Creighton, though, I think is one of those teams that has a lot of hype around them year after year, and they never quite match up to it. I got a stinking suspicion personally that this is the year that they may make it decently far. Whatever you think that is, it's up to you guys. I know nothing about Akron. It feels like they're one of those teams that just got in because they won their tournament or something like that. I haven't researched them. What do you think? Okay. Let's see. Creighton. Brighton. I mean, that's probably Creighton. I'm seeing a few Akrons in here, but not enough to really make a difference. It looks like we're going to have Creighton. I'm still upset that Alexander decommitted from us, though. We'll never let old things die from time to time, will we? All right, I think it's done. Break. All right, we're going to call the break there. I don't even think there's an account. I didn't even see Drip Edits give us his count or anything like that. There it is. It came in a little bit late, but Creighton it is. All right. Folks, 2 more in the round of 64. Let's finish it out. Number 7 versus number 10, Texas, Virginia, or Colorado State. I have heard it said by several people that Virginia should not be in this tournament. And I'm going to hold them to that because I'm still bitter about that double dribble. Do we just say Texas wins even if it is Colorado State because we don't want to give Virginia the win? Knowing that the ACC was quote unquote down this year, downer than they've normally been. But then if Colorado State wins it, being that they're from that stronger than normal Mountain West Conference, does that give Texas more of a fight, being from the Big 12? If it's to me, this is one of those that depends on who wins. But we just got to pick right now with what we know. That game is. Oh, I don't know when that game actually is, the play-in game, but it doesn't say on here. But what do you guys got? A lot of Texases I see. It looks like it's going to be. I'm looking. Virginia is not good offensively. Texas. All right. Future SECU Texas, 12-0 on the YouTube side. We'll call it. Yep, a couple more came in from on the back end there and just continue for Texas. Nobody wanted to even give Colorado State a chance. They just hate Virginia so much and the fact that they're associated with it. There it is. All righty. The last one. Here we go, folks. Are we going to have fun with this one? Give me your pick. Tennessee, St. Peter's, Peacocks. It was so much fun 2 years ago. Do they have enough to take down the mighty Dalton Connect? Vescovy, Adu. What's the annoying guard's name? Gosh, I'm blanking on his name right now. Anyway, who you got? Tennessee, St. Peter's. I would love St. Peter to win. The Tennessee, I think, is just so good. Even though they squandered their chance. If you don't pick St. Peter's, you're not a real Patriot. That's funny. All right, we got a few Peacock picks here, but it looks like Tennessee is going to win. There's a few more coming in on Facebook for St. Peter's. Ziegler, thank you. Thank you for that. Ziegler, Vescovy, Ziegler. There you go. It's Tennessee. It's Tennessee. We're just going to call it. As much as we would love to see it happen, it's going to be Tennessee. All right, there you go. All right, everybody, let's take a quick breather for 2 seconds. Give me just a second to not look at the screen for 2 seconds. First of all, I want to just thank you guys for being here early and interacting with us, like interacting with me and with each other. That means a whole lot that you guys would participate in this. I'm always nervous doing these ones because I know this does not the most conducive for like conversation and stuff like that because we're just trying to get through something. But you guys have been very interactive, very participatory, and just I want you to know that as the person running the stuff behind the screen here, that means a whole lot. Makes this a lot easier for me. So you guys are awesome. Thank you. And Bryant, by the way, I want to give you a shout out for being if I have this correctly, a subscriber, supporter over there on Facebook. You can do that way too. Remember, on that group that you have access to in there, it gets you links into the Conquer Club if you want to do that. If y'all want to join the Conquer Club, you can join here on YouTube by hitting the join button. It'll get your icon next to your name. $1 a month is all it takes to get in. That's it. And then you'll have an access to the Discord if you want to get in and have conversations with us about things. All right. I'll take a couple comments and then we're going to move on. Can we just bask in the fact that Auburn won the SEC tourney? We absolutely can. And we did. I hate that we missed you on yesterday's stream. We had a lot of fun with that one. Auburn to the Sweet 16 and Bama to thank y'all very much. I will admit, Micah, I have Alabama in the Sweet 16 right now. I may change that based off thinking through things, but I agree that I have Alabama and Auburn both in the Sweet 16 at this moment. But I don't know that you're going to get much grace from this crowd here in just a second. I saved you one time. Do I think Auburn can win it all? Yes, I think they could, but not going to happen. Thank you. Appreciate that. Very much appreciated. Let's see here. Oh, so many kind words. You guys are great. I don't have any new news on that, WT. People in the Conquer Club Discord, I'm giving them updates when I get them, but there's not anything really significant that y'all haven't already heard because we're all waiting on the announcement at this point, right? That's all it is. Okay. All right. We're not going to be able to take everybody's comment, but if we have time and I have some energy at the end of this thing, I'll take some more comments and questions and kind of spend some time just chatting with you guys for a few minutes because we are an hour and 14 in. Here we go. All the way back up we go. We're going to go through the round of 32 really quick. Let me put it back on the screen because you guys need that. Here we go. Let's hit it right now. And actually, I'm going to hit a break real quick just so I can know where the count is at. Break. Here we go. All right. UConn versus FAU. Again, what everybody's darling for the tournament is, number one, give me your vote. UConn or FAU? FAU has got KT Harrell as their director, as his director of basketball operations there. Not that that necessarily makes a difference, but there's an Auburn tie. Darlings of last year's tournament. Would love to have seen them in the championship game. That would have been so much fun. Who you got? What we got? Anybody want to pick FAU for the upset? Got a few of those, but I'm seeing way too many UConns. Here's a couple more. A couple on Facebook. A few more UConns on Facebook as well. I know a lot of you want FAU to do it, but I think it's going to be a pretty easy one. Now, I believe FAU has the majority of their team back. And if that's the case, I think that makes them a little bit more scary. But unfortunately, it's UConn. It's going to be UConn. Another FAU on Facebook. And as a reminder, since we're at the round of 32, make sure you guys refresh if you haven't after a little while, because you may be getting a little bit behind in chat. Don't vote just yet. Don't vote just yet, everybody. Oh, the vote's already coming in. My gosh. I didn't call for it yet. UConn is going for it. All right. Auburn versus San Diego State. What do you got? Put the votes in right now. Remember, wait just a second before I call for it. I got to get time to get the break in there on the chat so I can get the votes right. I know y'all are excited, having fun. I figured at some point it was going to start happening. Maybe it was happening before I even knew it because I switch over to the other screen so much. San Diego State, Auburn, Mountain West versus SEC. I think if Auburn does make it to the round of 32, which they should, I feel like they're going to beat San Diego State. I just don't know enough about them this year to feel 100% good about this one. But Auburn, with their depth, their Janai Broom, their Jalen Williams, their Chad Baker-Mazara, I think it's just too much for a lot of teams. And I don't know that San Diego State as a 5 seed would have enough firepower to beat Auburn. There we go. Look at all that beautiful, beautiful Micah. Look at Micah being a good Alabama fan, being a reasonable Alabama fan. It's all across the board. 14-0, 2 scary defenses. There you go. All right. There's your break. You may start voting now. Everybody was so excited to pick Auburn that I was literally finishing my thoughts on the UConn situation. They're like, shut up, Kyle. Talk about Auburn. All right, here we go. BYU, Illinois, Mountain West versus Big 10. Illinois is a team that I think has an opportunity to, if it's not going to be a 1 seed or a 2 seed in the Final Four, I think Illinois has got an opportunity to go a little bit further than maybe some other people think. So that's where I'm kind of at on this. But I have a lot of respect for the Mountain West this year, especially based off when I just hear, again, prognosticators, experts talk about it, that I hear Mountain West and I just go, you know what? I'm at least going to give them some respect. What do you guys think? Illinois, BYU. Okay. Few BYUs. Quite a few BYUs. But enough Illinois that I think we're going to be plenty okay here to put Illinois through. But I'm very impressed with a lot of you having respect for BYU on this one. A few from Facebook for BYU. BYU going to be soaking in a win. Another BYU coming through. Anybody got an official count yet on the YouTube side of things? Where's my man Drip Edits at? I think I have Illinois by just a few. Oh, well, it's up to me now, guys. So thank you so much, Drip Edits. You don't know how much of a help that was. So everybody, please give Drip Edits a round of applause and thank him for his time. That was very good. Okay. Don't vote again just yet. Let me count, make sure that Illinois did win this. It will take me a little bit. No, do not apologize, Drip Edits. You have been great. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Counting through all. Ooh, man, it's tight. Man, it is tight. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then one more time through here. Give me one more second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, my goodness. Illinois goes through by the skin of their teeth. I have it winning by 2. Good job, guys. Y'all made that really interesting there. Illinois moves through based on our fan vote. Let's move on to the next one. Number 10, Drake versus number 2, Iowa State. What do you got? Now, look, I think if Drake is matched up against a different number 2, we may be talking about the biggest upset in the second round right here. I'm probably way off base on that. That's just what my gut is telling me. And I don't have a lot really facts to back that up. But I don't think that they're going to beat Iowa State. What do you guys think? Anybody got any differing opinions on that? Let's see here. What if Florida loses? Iowa State, Drake. Iowa State, Drake. A few more Drakes than I was expecting to see. Iowa State, a few more Drakes. Still a lot of Iowa States, not Iowa Stakes. I'm going to give it another like 20 seconds on my end. I know there's a little bit of delay, so I'm going to do that. Another Drake comes through. I got another Iowa State coming through. This one's fairly close. Jackson, are you taking it over? Thank you so much. That's very much appreciated. Jackson's the guy now. A bulldog could run away from a cyclone unless it catches him, Peter. All right, we're going to call it there. Iowa State it is. A lot of you like Drake, though, and I would love to see them move forward. Iowa State moves forward. Let's keep going. North Carolina versus Mississippi State. We have talked about how formidable a team Mississippi State, at least physically, right, appears to be. North Carolina is, by all intents and purposes, the weakest of the number 1 seeds. It's still North Carolina, though. They did get beat by NC State, who went on an incredible run in their tournament. What do you think? North Carolina, Mississippi State. Can the team that really gave Auburn fits in the SEC tournament, or the most fits, I should say, out of the 3 teams we played, can they beat North Carolina? Doesn't look like it's too favorable. There's a few Mississippi States coming in here. We might have to put it to an official vote here. Oh, we might have a Mississippi State upset. UNC shouldn't be a number 1. It looks like the majority of you are voting that way. Damian, SEC. Devin points out that Mississippi State is no match for RJ Davis and Baycott. Is RJ on North Carolina? Yeah, he is. I'm getting him mixed up with someone else. I think this is a case where the star power of UNC may be what puts them over. But unfortunately, our vote is Mississippi State. Wow. My goodness. I'm actually going to be honest. I agree with Devin that I just, there's something about UNC that I can't probably make this pick in my bracket, personal bracket, but that's our vote. Mississippi State. Here we go. Micah, you might want to sit this one out, buddy. Give me your votes now. St. Mary's versus Alabama. 5 versus 4. What do you got? I saved him one time. He knew what he was getting into when he came over here. I personally have Alabama going to the Sweet 16. I do think, and I don't say this as a shot, but I do think they have a more favorable region than a lot of other teams. I think you could probably make that case a little bit for Auburn too. Um, I just don't have a lot of faith in St. Mary's. If Grand Canyon, the way people talk about them, is as underestimated as they say gets to Alabama, maybe I'll feel a little bit better about it just because there's that really underdog mentality there. But what do we think? What do we think? St. Mary's, Alabama, Bama. Let's be real. It will be Bama. Bama, St. Mary's, Alabama, St. Mary's, UAT, St. Mary's, Alabama, St. Mary's, 8-6 Bama, 9-6 Bama. On my side of things, I've got with some of the other platforms. Let me just double check. It's like I've got just as many Bama to St. Mary's votes. So, actually, no, I've got 2 more St. Mary's votes than Alabama on Facebook. So the vote was when you had it, Jackson. Let me make sure it hasn't changed. Let me put the break in. Let's just make sure. Steven says you haven't watched St. Mary's if you think they ain't got a shot. I think they have a shot. Everybody has a shot. Okay. I cut it off before these other votes came in. So unfortunately, they're not going to count, which would have put St. Mary's over. But by my count, Alabama still wins this one. But let me, did I get that in? Yes. They win it by like 1 vote. There it is. Hey, Micah, never let it be said that we didn't handle this properly as a collective, right? I do think if there is one of the upper tier SEC teams, and I hope you would agree too, Micah, but whoever else, Alabama is here, that if Alabama doesn't get their offense going, they will be susceptible to falling to anybody in the round 2. So there you go. All right, next game is up. What do we got? New Mexico versus Baylor. That was our first major upset that we picked, although picked earlier in the rounds. But I told you guys, or at least my feeling is that New Mexico winning that game is not an upset. It would be an upset the other way. But are they strong enough to beat Baylor? Mountain West versus Big 12. Again, we've seen this matchup a lot now at this point, which kind of shows you that, hey, that's 2 very good conferences this year, Big 12 and Mountain West. What do you guys think? I was surprised that Baylor let us hang around as much as they did early in the year. It's the first game of the year. But personally, I just don't see enough from New Mexico, even as good as they've been this year, to warrant them moving forward. We got a few New Mexicos coming in definitely. I don't see anything to change our votes on the Facebook side of things. There's a Baylor coming in. Okay. There we go. We're going to call it. Yep, Jackson came in with the 10-4 Baylor. Baylor, it is, folks. And another Baylor came in on Facebook too, right as we hit break as well. Baylor moves on. New Mexico's non-Cinderella journey ends. Dayton versus Arizona. I was surprised of all of y'all's takes on this one earlier on. I really was shocked. Let me know what you think. Dayton or Arizona? I think I know which way we're going based on what you said earlier. Or I don't know, maybe this matchup changes your opinions. Arizona comes from the Pac-12, which has been a little bit down this year, but they definitely are the upper echelon of the Pac-12. Dayton's a team that's always in March Madness, it seems like, and if they aren't, it's a rare thing. And the 7 versus the 2 slot. When you get to the second round, there's not a lot of major upsets if it's chalk at that point. But let's see what everybody thinks. Oh, boy. I think I know which way we're going on this one. It's pretty close to start with. I'm doing a quick count in my head. It's a tough one for me. I agree. Dayton, it looks like it's going to be. I got a 8-7 Dayton. There's an Arizona Facebook, so that's a tie. Let me double check for the rest of. Nope. So that's a Dayton in the lead. Another Dayton from Facebook. Another Dayton from Facebook. An Arizona from Facebook. Another minute or two. If it was LBS over Arizona, I'd take Dayton. 9-7 Dayton based on here. And there's a lot more coming in from Facebook. There's another Arizona. And we'll call it. There you go. Oh, sorry about that. Another Arizona came in, but there was enough of a window. There was a lot of Dayton on Facebook that I saw. So Dayton is moving forward. We have an upset. A 2 seed gets beaten. I kind of like that. There's a few more upsets here thus far than I thought we would have. Halfway through the round of 32, that went a lot quicker than the first round. Here we go. Houston, Texas A&M. Who do you got? Vote now. Number 1, Houston. Number 9, Texas A&M. Who do you have? A lot of respect for Houston, their coach, even though they ended our run last year in Birmingham. Texas A&M and Buzz Williams getting into the tournament. Some people thought they might not make it in. I think winning their game versus their first game in the SEC tournament obviously helped them a lot. Well, you think it did, and then you see what happened to Auburn in the seed, and you're like, does the SEC tournament even matter? Frustrating. Houston, I think, is too powerful. What do you guys think? Texas A&M, Houston, a lot of Houston. There's enough Texas A&M that's making it a little bit interesting. Well, I tell you, yeah, remind me at the end if you're still here, but it'll be listed as a E2C network fan pick on our group. Like, you won't be able to, you can look at it. Obviously you can't change anything because it's run by me in a different email account, and it won't count towards the contest winnings, obviously, because there's no way to give it to a single person. But if it wins, that'll be kind of funny. Houston, A&M, a lot of A&Ms. A&M, a Texas team will win. Wow, that's just terrible. That's just terrible. 10-7 Houston. Another on the YouTube side of things is what Jackson has. Give it another 10 seconds or so. If anybody else that's a little bit delayed wants to get in on the action. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Break is put in. The voting is closed. Houston moves forward. There we go. Texas A&M's Cinderella run is not going to happen. Speaking of Cinderella runs, here we go, folks. Give me your vote. Our first and only, I think, 5-12 upset, James Madison versus Duke. Hey, if this is a reality, this is the one I'm tuning into and really rooting hard for James Madison. The Dukes beating Duke. How cool would that be? How funny would that be? What do you think? Is Duke still going to be able to beat James Madison? Kyle Flipkowski will hopefully behave himself and not try to flip other people over him by sticking his leg out. What do you got? All right. A lot of Dukes early on. A couple of James Madisons on Facebook. Too many Dukes here on YouTube, it looks like. We got a couple of James Madisons coming in. There's a few there. Jackson has it as 9-4 on YouTube side of things. I have it as it's Duke. There's enough James Madison to bring it up to like maybe around like a 12-8 or 9, but I think we're fine. We'll close it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Duke wins it. No Cinderella story for James Madison anymore. NC State versus Kentucky, another upset that we picked. Will they beat the Kentucky Wildcats? The Blue Blood, they will let you know about it too as a fan base. Quite annoying. Sorry if we've got any Kentucky fans tuning in today. NC State shocked a lot of people in the ACC. What do you got? NC State, Kentucky. Let me know. NC State, Kentucky. I think Kentucky losing in the SEC tournament wasn't as shocking as a lot of people made it out to be. It just goes to show you how tough the SEC was this year. A lot of Kentucky's at the start. Jackson's got them at a state pick there. NC State. I think we've got a pretty easy next one. I'll give another like 10 seconds for a few more votes to come in. Okay. 12-1, you're the lone wolf. All by yourself. Don't want to be all by myself. Kentucky's in. All right, the last one in this region, Florida Marquette. Give me your votes now. 7 versus 2, SEC versus they would be the Big East, right? They're in the Big East, aren't they? I think so. Or would they be anyway, it doesn't matter. Marquette is who they are. They're usually in the tournament. They're typically very good. Florida is a very good team. Please keep in mind, they have lost their starting center. A lot of you picked Western Kentucky in that first matchup. Not enough to make a big difference, but enough that made me raise my eyebrows. I just don't know that Florida has it in them without their big man personally to take down Marquette. But what do you guys think? A lot of Marquettes. Woo! Florida. There's a Florida. There's a Florida. There's a Florida. Yep. Jackson's got it as 11-3 there. Is he out for the tournament, Latrell? He is out for everything. He snapped his leg, essentially. So he's out. I really hate to see that for him. Really devastating injury. You never want to see those things. It is Marquette, folks. I'm going to put the break in. There you go. Hold the vote for just a second. Western Kentucky is playing at their best, so don't count them out. And I think that's what you guys were trying to say. This is what John was saying about the earlier matchup when we were talking about it, Western Kentucky versus Marquette. And that's why matchups matter, right? It's not necessarily just because this team didn't get upset earlier doesn't mean that they're not going to have an easier time going forward. All right, next vote. We put Marquette through all the way down to Purdue versus TCU. I think I know the way this is going to go, but let me know. Number 1, Purdue. Number 9, TCU. You guys put that as a quote-unquote upset. 8 versus 9. It's not really an upset in the first round. But Zach Edey, again, descendant of the Nephilim. And TCU matchup. Big 12, Big 10. Some people had Purdue a lot of time this season as the number 1 team. Definitely a number 1 seed worthy. Is it even worth the conversation? Oh, look at what I see here. Wow, we got a lot of TCUs here. Oh my goodness. TCU upset on Facebook. Another Purdue on Facebook. Purdue's making a strong run here at the end, though, folks. 9-5. Let's see. I've got a few more Purdue's coming in. There's still votes coming in on a regular basis, so I'm going to let it keep going. I'm not just trying to make it interesting. Once they slow down, which is now, I'll give it another like 5-ish seconds, and I'll vote it. I'll move it on. It's close. As Jackson said, I'm going to go back and recount some of the other platforms. I've got 2 more Purdue's on Facebook. Let me make sure some of you didn't double vote. A TCU votes keep coming in, I'm going to keep it going. I know y'all can't see some of them on YouTube or on X, but they're still coming in. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Let me put it in right here. Break. All right. Let me do a quick recount across the thing. So hold your horses on the next vote. Another YouTube Purdue came in. So that would tie it up on it by my count and by what Jackson gave me on YouTube. TCU to Purdue's. Another Purdue. Give me another second. Oh, man. Here's my count that I have. A lot of you say 9-9. I know it's 9-9 on YouTube. But based on the Facebook votes that I'm getting, it is Purdue by 1 vote. Oh, you changed your vote? Well, don't change your vote on me, unfortunately, because it's going to be hard to, to keep those straight. I'm going to put another break in just for ease of counting things here. All right. So that's it. Purdue gets by in the squeaker. I'm going to take a look at this matchup a little bit better because of what you guys said. Maybe I'm missing something there. I didn't think it was going to be what you guys said. A lot of you think TCU is going to upset Purdue. So if you have that in your bracket and you end up being right, great. A lot of us are missing it at this point. Gonzaga versus Samford, Bulldogs versus Bulldogs. Small conference, still small conference, but power in basketball. Who do you got? Gonzaga or Samford going to the Sweet 16. Good guard play. I don't really know Gonzaga's makeup this year. I know Drew Timmy's not there, like we talked about a little bit earlier. Their star power is not there as much this year. Both they and St. Mary's are 5 seeds, which tells you it was pretty even, those being the usual powers. Anybody want to send Samford into the next round? Gonzaga, Samford. Ooh, a lot of Samfords. I appreciate everybody giving Samford some love here, more than I thought we'd get. I think some of you are like, hey, let's put Samford through just because it would be fun to see. I have heard a lot of good things about them this year, but I just wonder if they're going to be on the same caliber as a team like Gonzaga in terms of talent, in terms of, type of player, things like that. All right. Another 5 seconds. We've gotten a break in, at least a lull in the votes coming in. So we will break. Cool. That's going to be it. On the YouTube side of things, we had it at 8-5 based on the other platforms. I've got, let me double check. Wow. John, your vote came in a little late and that would have tied it up. Samford loses by 1 in our group vote. Y'all are making this interesting. Maybe we're just also delirious at this point. It's kind of like, what the heck, right? But Samford almost upsets them. All right, 2 more in the round of 32. And again, it's going to keep getting quicker and quicker as we go forward. Give me your votes. South Carolina or Creighton? You guys were very complimentary of South Carolina in the earlier vote against Oregon. I'm just having a hard time personally feeling like they can go forward. Creighton seems to be a team that's really at least living up to their name of sorts this year in a lot of people's minds. They're a 3 seed, 6 seed. Can South Carolina pull the upset? I will say this, no matter where South Carolina's story goes the rest of this season, it's been really nice to see them back into the picture because they just fell off. And I hate that Frank Martin's not their head coach anymore because I really liked him as a head coach. Let's see here. Is this Samford's first trip in the tourney history? I don't think so. Maybe, but I don't think so. I think they've been there once before. All right, South Carolina, Creighton. A lot of Creighton, and then a few more South Carolinas came in. Jackson has it at 8-3 Blue Jays. We're losing a few voters. I can tell it's getting tiring for a lot of people, but thank y'all for sticking with us. Facebook, it's pretty in favor of Creighton. Yeah. All right, we're going to call it. There we go. I see what you just said, Micah. All right, our winner for this one is Creighton moving forward. South Carolina ends. I will echo what he just said. Give me your votes, but you've got to give me, don't make your UT jokes. Just give me 10 or TEX. 10 or TEX. Got to give me that N or you got to give me that X. Got to know. 10 or TEX. Or just do that. Don't make it difficult with mascots and stuff like that. It's fun to see them sometimes and easy to keep it up with it a few other times, but don't make it difficult. Tennessee or Texas. I don't have a lot of like strong feelings about Texas, but part of that is I think that kind of tells me a few things about them. If I don't have a lot of strong feelings about them, I have a high opinion of Tennessee, so I'm trying not to let that sway my pick, but it's hard not to. I mean, they've got Dalton Connect for crying out loud. All right. It looks like the battle of UT and UT. Tennessee, UT and a nail biter. My gosh. I knew you were going to make that unbeaten lake. Wow. Is it we have it at 13-1 in YouTube side of things, and it's not even close. Yeah. Not even close. That's kind of how I feel too. So y'all are reflecting the moderator here. Tennessee goes forward. All right. I know you guys are wanting to get through this, but give me just another second to break here, and we will power through to the end of this thing because we've gotten down to the very end. Again, I want to thank you guys for sticking with me for this long, hanging out with us. And I know you've already said that you're enjoying this. And that's why we do things like this. This is not necessarily something that brings in the YouTube numbers or anything like that. Although we have a great crowd here and across the other platforms. But I do these things because you asked for them. And the fact that you all showed up after asking for it, that means a whole lot to me. Again, let me remind you, if you have not, you need to sign up for our bracket contest. I will put the link in the description for this, of this video after this. If you haven't, you need to go to our social media. You will see posts for it there, or you can look on the ESPN app, E2C Network 2024 for that group. There's Tyler. I see y'all messaging me. I see it. We're almost done. Well, somewhat done. Sign up that way and get in. We're thankful to Barner Brand for being our prize sponsor this year. If you're an Alabama fan like Micah and you win it, you can give it to a friend who I'm sure you got at least one Auburn friend out there. I heard there's another platform that people should sub to. Oh, to TikTok. Is that what you mean, Jackson? I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. All right, let's keep going here. We are just about the 2-hour mark, and I told y'all we would be lucky to get this done in 2 hours, and we're not going to be able to do that. Here we are in the Elite Eight. Things are going to get pretty interesting now. Let's start with this one. Let me put a break in really quick. Oh, Patreon. Yes, we'll talk about that stuff at the end. There's your break for me to start counting, for you all to start counting. Put your votes in now. Auburn versus UConn. This is an Auburn group. I am not shocked if Auburn wins this thing, but folks, UConn looks like a legit team. They've only lost 3 times this year. They're in the Big East, which is always a good basketball conference. I hope that we have got it in us to be able to win. We have the depth. We have the versatility. How that matches up with UConn and their skill and their ability is the question. And I think if there's going to be a team outside of your Houstons, your Purdue's, your Tennessees, your North Carolinas, your Iowa States to match up with them, someone beyond the 2 and 3 slots, Auburn, maybe a Kentucky. If Alabama's shooting well enough, they could as well, but they're not in the region, so neither is Kentucky. So I know I'm just giving comparisons at this point. Well, what do we think? Looks like Auburn Auburn. UConn has no chance. WarCon. Don't know how to take that one, Damien. I don't know if I can count that one. I'm being realistic. We've got a UConn vote from an Auburn fan. UConn takes this one. Auburn wins by 12. Anybody got a complete vote yet? Because I mean, it's Auburn. We'll just call it. Broom is unstoppable. Okay, no shocker here in the Auburn fan pick'em. Auburn moves forward to. I said it earlier. It was the Elite Eight. We're in the Sweet 16. I'm sorry. Makes it to the Elite Eight. Illinois versus Iowa State. Give me your votes. 3 versus 2. Probably will be one of the better Elite Sweet 16 games. I keep saying the wrong thing. Who do you want facing Auburn in our bracket? Or who do you think? I guess I should. Who do you want is not how we need to think about this. Who do we think it will be? Illinois or Iowa State? I could go either way on this. I would lean Iowa State, but I could make a really good case for Illinois. What say you? Illinois, and this is the problem. There's a lot of eyes here. This looks pretty even. This looks really even. Iowa State's taking a little bit of a lead here by my count. Oh, did I skip over that, Micah? I'll come back. I'm sorry. Did we not pick that one? I'll go back and check on it in just a second, but let me double check here in a second. Illinois, Iowa State by 8. Let me check our Facebook. We've got an X votes. Let me double check. That's even so far. Iowa State. Wow, this one's easy. This one's pretty even. I think my count, if I'm correct, and again, it may not be exactly right, I think I've got Iowa State winning on this count by 1 vote. As I just predicted. You said we skipped a thing? I'm looking real quick. You're right. I thought we picked this one. Did we not? Everybody hold on for a second with votes. We did say that Marquette beat Florida, right? Can I get a confirmation from everybody in the chat? Because I did not mark it. Anybody confirm that? Okay, thank you. All right. Appreciate it. We picked it. You just didn't click it. Y'all know we've been doing this for 2 hours, right? Thank you. We got all the confirmations. All right, I'm putting a break in just for counting purposes. Fixed now. We did pick Iowa State as a group by 1 by my count. That was across YouTube and the other votes that you guys can't see respectively unless I bring them up all on screen. We're not going to have time to do all that. I had Iowa State by 1. Mississippi State versus Alabama. I forgot this was going to happen, guys. What do you think? Give me your vote. Alabama versus Mississippi State. I can't remember how that worked out in the schedule. Who beat who? But if Alabama makes it through and you see a Mississippi State team, that'll be a fun matchup. Now, unfortunately for Alabama here, and I again, Micah and other Alabama fans, please hear me on this. Mississippi State and Auburn seem to be very similar, and the strength of Auburn, their size, their big man power seems to work really well against Alabama, especially if you can keep them from getting hot from their shots. So if this scenario doesn't happen in my bracket, but me personally looking at it, I would say Mississippi State wins this one, which would put them into the Elite Eight. What do you got, though? Mutt State. Haven't seen that in a while. Mississippi State. OG says Gumps. State, Bama. It's pretty close. Micah, this one's tough. I'm going to say Mississippi State, but this would be a really, really tough matchup. Have we got a vote count? 8-6 Bama. That's what I have it on YouTube. So there, I don't know if we counted Micah's vote yet. All right, you've got literally, remember there's a delay, but as of me saying this, you've got 10 seconds to get your votes in. And then I'm going to close this because this one I think is going to be pretty close. And I'm going to have to count across all the different platforms. Jackson is being a huge help, like Drip Edits was earlier, to keep me correct on at least one of the platforms. And we are going to call it now. So there you go. There's your break. 10-6 Bama at that point. Another one came in, which would make it 11-6 on YouTube side. Let me check the Facebooks. Mississippi State. I got 4 votes on Mississippi State, which would make it, wow. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Auburn fan vote put Alabama through. Never let it be said that we can't be fair here. Alabama State wins this one. Let's keep moving. Okay. I now need your votes for number 3, Baylor, number 7, Dayton. What do we got? Again, if your votes came in after that break, it may not look that way on your chat. We can't count them, but so unfortunately, they're not going to be part of the equation there. Who is your vote for this one? Baylor or Dayton? Baylor or Dayton? What do you think? A lot of you guys are high on Dayton. Baylor's coming from the very strong Big 12 team. We saw them earlier in the year. They've slipped up a few times. Their story, just outside looking in perspective to me, feels very similar to Auburn's. Could have been the top of their conference during the regular season. Took a few losses. Maybe they shouldn't. The fact that they got Houston there, it's kind of like the Tennessee effect for us a little bit in the regular season, at least. But let's see what everybody says. A lot of love for Dayton early on, but it appears the vast majority, if not all, well, we got a few, and that is echoed across Facebook as well. So if you didn't get your vote in time, I'm sorry, but we're going to go and call it for sake of time, and there's not going to be enough votes to make it up for Dayton. Baylor, look at that. We're going to get to that one in a little bit. Back up we go. Houston versus Duke, Sweet 16. What do you got? I've said that a lot, I know. The keywords this show have been all right. What do you got? Who wins it? I always remember that every single year that I repeat myself like 1,000 different times on this stream. When you reach 2.5 hours almost, you're just like trying your best to hang on. Houston's a very good team. I think Duke is not as good as they've been. I feel like I know where y'all are going to go on this one. Ooh, maybe not. Maybe I don't know. Let's see. A lot of Houston's early on. A few more Dukes coming in. Anybody else? What else do you got? What do you got on the vote? Get them in before we close the door on it. Got a few less votes for this one, it seems like. Either people don't care or we are losing viewers by the dozens. Let's see. We'll give it another 5 seconds. There's another Houston. Devin, aren't you in Houston? No. Where are you in Texas? I can never remember. That'll do it right there. WT says Houston won't make it this far to play Duke. Well, maybe so. But for our purposes, Houston it is. I've got the vote. Dallas, that's where you are. Thank you. I always feel like you're in Houston for some reason. Houston moves forward by our vote count here. Next up, Kentucky, Marquette. This will probably also be a good matchup in my mind. I don't know how you all feel. Who do you got? Give me your vote. Kentucky or Marquette. You can type UK or Mar, whatever you need if you don't want to type the whole thing out. Kentucky or Marquette. What do you have? Golden Eagles, Wildcats, blue blood of the SEC. What do you think? Fair amount of variance here. I'm gaining people on YouTube. I hope so. There's a good amount of people watching on Facebook and a few on X from time to time. X, I didn't expect to have a lot of viewers just because it's not a platform where people stick on a video for a long time, but we provide it for people who want to take advantage of it. Kentucky Marquette. Jackson, are you still here counting? I haven't seen you in a little bit. We may have lost our counter. I might need him in a little bit here. Kentucky, we got a John Brown saying Kentucky will win it all. All right, I'm going to give you another 5 seconds on my end, and then we'll call the break. And that'll do it. Benjamin Walk gets in with a Kentucky vote. Tougher schedule than Marquette. And that will be our time. I know, Jackson did leave us, didn't he? I don't know where he went. Hey, he has been a trooper as well. He didn't have to. If anybody else wants to keep track of it, since we don't know where he is at this point, you are more than welcome to. Brian, you got it. You do it on Facebook, but make sure you give me when you say 2 to I know it's tie, but make sure you give me whoever's in the lead whenever you do that. If anybody wants to take it on YouTube, that would be a humongous help. All right. My vote, by my count, it's not close, but it's not distant either. I've got on my count Kentucky winning. Kentucky and Houston. Last 2 matchups here in the Sweet 16. What do we got? Purdue, Gonzaga. Give me your vote now. Purdue, Gonzaga. I got the feeling that if this matchup happens, Purdue's going to wipe the floor with Gonzaga. This may be one of those times where if you weren't high on Purdue earlier, I think they wipe the floor with Gonzaga. Just saying, you may disagree with me. That's just my initial reaction to seeing these 2 names and my limited familiarity with Gonzaga on the extreme end, and then Purdue a little bit of familiarity with. Looks like you all agree. Everybody's like screaming, where is Jackson? Who would I have picked between Kentucky and Marquette? In that scenario, I want to pick Marquette just because I hate Kentucky so much. Sometimes I'm petty with my picks. All right. I think we've gotten all the votes in that are going to come in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bam. There it is. I have Purdue winning by a landslide by our count across the board. It's like maybe 5 votes for Gonzaga across the board, across all platforms. So kind of what we were talking about, Purdue's in. Last one here in the Sweet 16 before we start moving even more quickly. Creighton versus Tennessee. Who you got? 3 versus 2. This will probably be a good matchup too. Dalton Knecht. I can continue to give you Ziegler, Vescovi, Adu. They've got the big names in the SEC. They've got the most star power from the SEC, even after faltering in the SEC tournament. Creighton, as I've tried to build them up in my eyes, is a team that may live up to some of that hype that surrounds their name. But what do you all think? Ooh, a lot of votes coming in here. And a lot of differing votes. This one could get a little tricky. This could get really, really tricky. Let's see here. All right, we'll give you another less than 30 seconds, like 20 seconds to get your votes in if you haven't. There's still a few popping in from all the platforms. I think Tennessee comes angry after the early exit. Yeah. Jackson, there you are. Where'd you go, buddy? He's back. He's back. Tennessee vote there. That's 9-7 on YouTube. All right, another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cutting it off. We've got it at 9-7. I figured you were busy, but we were all like, where's Jackson? Where's Jackson? 4-0 Tennessee on Facebook by Brian's count. And then we had another Tennessee come through to make it 9-7. So that would put Tennessee in the lead. He corrected to 3-1 Tennessee. I switched my pick. Can't switch picks. Sorry. If you put it in, the pick in, we got to accept it as is. We can't go back and count them. I believe by my count across all the platforms, this was a very, very close one. I'm going to put another break in just for ease of doing the next vote. Tennessee makes it through. The Facebook votes put it over, I think, by 1, if my counts are correct. Keep in mind, this is an informal process. If you disagree with the count, I'm sorry. All right, here we are, folks. We are in the Elite 8. This should go a little bit more quickly, even more quickly. Let's do it. Auburn versus Iowa State. This is an Auburn fan chat. Give me your vote. Does Auburn have enough to beat Iowa State? I have heard a lot of people say, Auburn fans obviously, but some not Auburn fans, that if Auburn were able to somehow make it past, obviously win their first 2 games, make it past UConn, that this is where the rubber meets the road. I've heard they have a great defense too. Defensive matchup. Big 12 SEC. Can we take our orange and blue visors off? Or are we going to put Auburn through to the Final Four? But let me also say this. If you're someone that picks Auburn to go to the Final Four this year, it's not unheard of. Like, it's not the worst thing that you could pick. It's a bit out there, but it's not the worst thing that you could pick. Very even matched. There you go. A lot of Auburn. Do I even see one single Iowa State? Anybody? Nobody? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Break. It's Auburn, folks. Can you believe it? I can, because this is an Auburn fan vote by majority. Auburn makes it to the Final Four. There you can see it right there. Auburn in the Final Four. It'll be nice when we don't have to go up and down and we can just look there. Here we go. Oh, goodness gracious. I got to go down here for it. Alabama versus Baylor. Do you want it? Hey, listen, at this point, because it would be that one. Alabama versus Baylor. Either way, it's a rematch. What do you got? Give me your votes now. Do we want it just for the sake of craziness to ensue? I have a feeling. No, I'm not going to say. I don't want to influence the vote. Will it be Baylor? Will it be Alabama to the Final Four? But could you imagine if this was the scenarios that both Auburn and Alabama had a chance to go to the Final Four? Oh, boy. What have we got going on here? I'm trying to find where I left off. There we go. Lots of Baylor, a few Bamas, a few more Bamas. Ooh, I think some of y'all just want to see this matchup. The rubber match. Latrell, it might be Alabama. I think you meant Alabama. Or no, there you go. Baylor. So it's 11-10 Baylor. Another like 10 seconds on the vote. If you haven't, remember there's a delay, so I'll have to break it. It's a close one. Anthony Richardson says WDE. I don't know if that's a vote or not, so I can't necessarily count it. but it is in Baylor's favor by 1 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. All right. We have Baylor in the lead. Let me double check. The vote has stopped, just to be clear, and I see my counts from Jackson and from Brian, and I double checked just now. Ladies and gentlemen, Baylor wins it by 1. Oh, I thought y'all were going to put Alabama through. I truly thought y'all were going to put Alabama through just to predict a Final Four. Could you imagine if that happened? Wow. All right, we're going to stay here. We're not going to move up and down on this one because it's literally right across from it. Here's your next vote I need. Purdue, Tennessee. What do you got? Big names on both sides of these teams. This is probably, in this matchup, the two biggest names facing each other at the same time. Zach Edey, Dalton Knecht. I think Zach Edey was the Big Ten Player of the Year. If he wasn't, that's pretty shocking. Tennessee, I think, has the strongest case, but not by much, to be the best team in the SEC. Purdue as well has a case and has made their case to be the best of the Big Ten, despite not winning the tournament. Same thing for Tennessee. Very similar scenarios. I would lean Purdue here, even though I'm high on Tennessee. What do you guys think? A lot of Tennessees, a couple Purdues coming in, a few more Purdues. Looks like it's going to be a Tennessee. Yep. I'm seeing the same thing across Facebook. I'm not even going to wait on this one because I think we would need a significant swing in Purdue's favor. Break. All right. That's going to be it for that one. Tennessee into the Final Four. There's your quick look at it. Wow. That's pretty interesting, folks. That's pretty interesting. Here we go. Our last Elite Eight pick before we talk about the Final Four. Houston versus Kentucky. Do you want to set up the three-way SEC Final Four? It would prove, give me your votes, Kentucky or Houston. It would prove that the SEC is the best conference. However, in my view, I think Houston is just too strong of a team. Yes, they got waxed in their tournament game. Tennessee didn't get, well, I guess they got beat pretty bad. One game doesn't determine how good a team is. I think Houston is still a very good basketball team. Kentucky is a very good basketball team, but I think they can just have some violent swings, a little similar to Bama. What is it? And let me remind you, folks, that one vote on the Baylor-Alabama situation almost made this a four-way SEC Final Four. Looking to see what we got here. It looks like it's in Houston's favor. Drip Edits is back, everybody. Jackson's taking your job. You guys can do it together if you'd like. I don't know. We've got an 11-6 Houston count on YouTube. Another about 5 or 10 seconds on anybody else who wants to get their votes in. I agree. Defense wins championships. Who is... I'm going to bring it back up here so we can see Houston and break. A few more Kentucky's and Houston's came in. It's Houston. Houston moves on. As much as I thought y'all would have liked to see that, it's going to be Houston. The only #1 seed to make it. All right, hold on the votes for just a second. Let's just take a second and look at this. We have got a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4 seed. You've got 2 SEC, 2 Big 12, the 2 best conferences, one on each side of the equation. Here we go. Let's start with it. Auburn, Baylor, rematch. Who wins it? Is Auburn legitimately going to go to the national championship game, folks, or will it be Baylor by this vote? What do you think? Glendale, Arizona. I'm going to do my best to go to Glendale if Auburn does make it to the Final Four. I don't expect them to, but if they do, I've got some money saved up that I'll be using. I know that would be hilarious, WT. It would be hilarious. Oh, burn. All right. Auburn. Virginia double dribbled. I think it's, there you go. We're just going to call it. Our Auburnness, we got too much Auburn in us. I see 1 Baylor, 2 Baylors maybe. Auburn in the national title game. Did you think it was going to end up anywhere else on an Auburn channel? Probably not. All right, last vote here before the big one. Houston, Tennessee. Do you want the rematch with Tennessee? Would you rather see Houston? I don't know that there's necessarily a right or a wrong answer in who you would prefer to see, but who do you think wins in this matchup to set up Auburn's championship contender? Houston, Tennessee. What do you got? And then the big one comes up. And look, folks, if you're tuning in late and you're like, how are they picking Auburn? We're just having fun here. And there's actually been some pretty serious conversations and like votes on this too. But it is an Auburn channel, so let's not act crazy here. All right. It looks like a little SEC bias may overtake it. Oh, there's some strong Houston presence here. Let's see. Just trying to make sure that the count is not closer than I think it is, but I believe we've got a Tennessee, 12 Tennessee. Yeah. I think we've got it. 14-8 Tennessee on YouTube, 3-1 Tennessee. It is a Tennessee victory. And it is done. There you go, folks. Tennessee into the league. All right. Here's what I want from you. We're going to take 2. Well, we can't. There's no way to really do it this way. I do need a pick from you all. Auburn versus Tennessee. Go ahead and post it in right now. Who wins this one? Legitimately. Come on now. I'm not saying like Auburn, you can't pick Auburn, but really think this through. Y'all have picked Auburn versus Tennessee. I think in most conversations, when you ask the question, who were the 2 best teams in the SEC, you're going to fall on Auburn and Tennessee. One won the regular season, one won the tournament. Both were in contention for both of those. Neutral site game, what happens? If Auburn had got a crack at them at home, I think they would have won. Very evenly matched. Star power on one side, more team power on the other. Would be a very, very interesting matchup here. Does Auburn win the national championship or does Tennessee win the national championship? I'm shocked that y'all have Tennessee in it, I'll be honest with you. Orange and blue, that's who. I think it looks like our orange and blue glasses will win it all. And I think we're getting the most votes in now, or maybe these are double and triple votes at this point. Bruce Pearl makes Tennessee cry. Special one for coach. The team in orange. I knew someone was going to make that joke at some point. Rar. Another 5 seconds. In 3, 2, 1. I believe it's a very easy Auburn win unless I'm missing something. Does anybody disagree with that? There you go, folks. You have selected Auburn versus Tennessee. We're not going to, there's no really easy way for us to pick a score together. I'll figure out a way to, like a randomizer or something like that, because the point is for us not to, this bracket to not win our bracket challenge. So that doesn't really matter. I just wanted to get to this point. And you know what, to be honest, you know what, I'm going to do 80 just so that we can complete the bracket. Let me do that. I'm going to submit it just so we don't lose it. But there you go. So let me remind you again, we're going to pull out here of the this view, and then I will we'll talk about a few other things. But remember, you will be able to view this one. It should be there now. In fact, we'll do this live because I've got my phone right here. You need to download the Tournament Challenge app. If you have not done so, look for E2C Network 2024. That's what I'm going to right now. And we're going to confirm that it is in there. We have a good group already assembled in there. I'm looking for our pick. It may take it a while to update because I haven't, my phone actually may not be able to pick it all the way up yet. But if it's not in there, I will get it in there. We have the bracket saved at this point. I'm trying to look for it real quickly here. I don't see it at this moment, but I'll make sure it gets in there. All right, folks, it has been a fun one. My goodness. I did not think that we would make it at some points, 2 hours and 30 minutes to the end of the stream. Let me take a few seconds here to remind you while I get my viewfinder here thing fixed a little bit of a few things before we head out today. I appreciate you guys so much for being here, hanging out with me for this long. You guys, you're awesome for putting up with me, hanging out with me, doing this. And this is why we do things like this that maybe aren't the most efficient and things like that, because we like connecting with you guys and hanging out and being part of the best little family within the Auburn family. Okay, let me give you the instructions one more time. This bracket challenge for us, this one for Barner Brand, who is doing our prize this year, a $50 gift card. I'll bring it up on screen for you. It's on the Tournament Challenge app for ESPN. It's also, you can just go to ESPN, go to their fantasy thing. You'll see it there. They're broadcasting it everywhere. You can follow our links directly on social media. At the end of this video, about maybe like 10 minutes after, I'm going to put the link in the description because it may be there already. I don't know. Maybe it is. I'll double check. So give me about 10 minutes after the show and you can follow that link directly there, or just go to the Tournament Challenge app. If you're entered in there, you will have an opportunity to win that $50 gift card. If you're not interested in that, you can use it as a gift for yourself or somebody else, but you're also doing it for bragging rights. Here's how it'll work. We will, at the end of the tournament, once we know the winner in our group, on social media, on our content, announce the winner. As soon as that thing ends, that tournament ends, that winner will have 2 weeks, I think is what we said, to get in contact with us via social media, direct message, or email, which we'll be putting our stuff out there for you to find it. And that's how we'll name the winner. If in 2 weeks they don't get back to us, we'll move to the second place, so on and so forth. That's how it'll go down. So I'm tired, y'all. I will take some last minute comments, questions, thoughts, topics about this subject. Put them in right now. Here's a reminder of what's coming up the rest of this week. Tomorrow night, we are doing a baseball live stream and a podcast record where we'll talk about the week that was. I know it wasn't that great, and I know that all of you aren't super excited about that right now, but please join me if you can. The first part will be me giving you the information you need to know, and then we'll do a Q&A at the end of that strictly about baseball. Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Don't miss it. Call-in show. We'll talk some more. It'll be March Madness focused, I'm sure. And then, of course, I don't have the picture up for them yet, but we will be playing on the 22nd versus Yale. Post-game stream there. If we win, post-game stream after that, round game, and so on and so forth. I told y'all I was going to be tired this week, but I do it because I enjoy hanging out with you guys and being here for you all. Elliot wants to know, do you actually think that we're going to win it all? I don't think we will win it all, but I would not be shocked if we did. So that's like, it's the way you think about it, right? It's what's the likelihood versus is it possible? It's highly possible for Auburn to win this year. Is it likely though? Probably not. That's the way that I choose to look at it. I'd be happy with a Sweet 16, WT says. I'd be extremely, and I think the expectation for this type of team is Sweet 16. You're running into UConn, who's just going to be a beast. Now, if you get past UConn, even though you would likely take on Iowa State, you got to think, if you got past that hurdle, boy, what else could you accomplish? Let's see here. Thank you guys so much for the kind words about all this. The question was how many points total will be scored in the championship game. I'm sure 80 is too low. I'll change it in a little bit. I know it was just me trying to get the thing saved because last year that's what happened is we didn't save it. And there was no way I could go back and figure all of that out to get exactly how you guys had picked. Please smash the like button if you guys have not done so. That's a huge help to all of this. Final thoughts, questions, derogatory rebuttals about this topic, about anything related to March Madness, Auburn basketball, please let me know. We would love to hit some of those last minute things. Make sure you sign up for the bracket contest, subscribe here, follow everywhere, all kinds of good content to be following across everything that we do. Remember, Coach Pearl took down Kentucky, UNC, and UK in succession. That is true. I had the same Final Four and championship, of course, the same winner. Well, Brian, there you go. I think no two brackets are going to be the same in our collective group. I don't think we've ever had that happen. At the very least, the scores or the points scored at the end will be the difference. But I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be picking, that UConn is going to be the winner after all of these things. So with that being said, folks, I got to go because I'm tired. Thank you so much for being here, hanging out with me, and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. And appreciate you sticking with me throughout this whole dang thing. You guys are awesome. Thank you so, so much. Until I talk to you again. War Eagle.